let's head back to the thing, right? One thing that I do need to do is take a look at the rules for, what is it, backtracking? Is that what this, backtracking. At any point in the dungeon, you may work your way backwards and return to rooms you already visited. If you ran away from a room, the monster you left will still be there. If you left the room empty, roll 1d6. On a roll of 6, new monsters appear. Roll for monsters as normal. And then you make a treasure roll -2. Okay, so that is how we're going to sort of deal with rooms that we've already been in. So this is the Tomb of the Necro Lord. So we leave town and then we head back. We go to the entrance and we enter the entrance and then decide where we're going to go. I mean, we need to meet new monsters. So far, we've met sutured hands and crawling, or sutured beast and crawling hands. So we've met 2 of the creatures that we need to meet. We need to meet cannibal rats, legless corpse, deformed servant. And then once we meet those 3, in addition to these other ones, maybe we'll meet them again or whatever. But we have to get 3, the variety down in order to get the Necro Lord to show up. And the Necro Lord will only appear in the butchery or the altar. So it could be a while before we find this Necro Lord. So we're gonna dive in. Let's dive in. We'll go to room 2, and now we're gonna roll a 1d6 just to see if it repopulated. So on a 6, it'll repopulate. It did not repopulate. So let's go through. Let's check this door and see what we get. So let's roll a d6. And it is locked. We need to do a wisdom check. And we fail. And we fail. Or a wits check, I mean. To try and pick the lock. So we can't pick the lock. We can't do it. We can't figure it out. So we go back through this door. And we head to this room. Let's roll a d6 and see if it repopulated. It did not repopulate. So let's go to this room and see if it repopulated. It did not. So we're going to try this door up here. And we're going to see what we get. So it is unlocked. We move through it freely. So we'll go ahead and mark that dark. And then we're going to roll 2d6 to see what size the next room is. It's going to be 7. And this is room 5. And it's 7. And what kind of room is it? It is a low ceiling. Why low ceiling is LS? I don't know. It should be LC. It's on the PDF. The low ceiling is an LS as the code. It should be LC, right? The ceiling is very low in here, +1 on all strength rolls. Okay, we'll try and remember that. So the next thing is to figure out what creature is in here. So let's find out. And it is a deformed servant. Excellent. Excellent. Because we needed to meet that. So how many? A deformed servant, max of 2. So 2. And they are 1d3 +1 and 1d3 +1. And life force of 15? Oh my god. No, 12. 12. Sutured beast is 15. Okay. Okay, so let's get a new paper out. And this is room 5. And we've got 26, 22, 26, 22, and 12 and 12. Okay. So what I was doing is I was just writing down, I've got my orc fighter, my halfling ranger, and the 2 deformed servants. And so we'll be keeping track of those guys from that. I feel like I should have, I'm gonna put one of these up. So there's my halfling ranger and my thing, and then we'll go ahead and we'll put another one. So there's my Deformed servants. Just so I can keep track of them. Okay, let's go. So we're in this room. Oh, wait. How many doors? How many doors? 1d3. One more door. So let's make it at the end of that little area. Okay. And so strength rolls are at +1. We've got to try and remember that. And we're in here. Okay, so let's do our bravery check. Look at that! Look at that! 1 and 1. Wow, we made it. We don't get any advantage. We would have healed up willpower had we, as I burp, we would have healed up willpower on that success. But we managed to avoid taking 1d3 +1 to willpower. Hey, Meeps, I had some technical difficulties, and in addition to that, I screwed up all of the rest of the combat. I failed to account for the fact that the Halfling Ranger still needed to do melee and would have taken damage on fails. Anyhow, so that combined with the technical difficulties, I've reset up from the point where I was doing things correctly, and now I'm going to start over again. So let's try this again. We're gonna jump right back in. This is my current setup. Got everything. I've got my little card holders to help me out, keeping the cards all set up and everything. And we're in here, and I reminded myself we just did range damage and melee damage to one of the disgusting whatever the hells. What are they? Deformed servants, that's what they are. And now what we need to do is, before going on to bravery, I need to have the halfling roll melee damage. Now, here's the tricky part. And again, it's a thing where I don't know how I feel about it. I really think that I want to do a reform of the weapons where there's a free 1 damage on a 1. Like if you get a critical success, you can do 1 damage with your fists as a free weapon. So I think I may house rule that, but I'll do it as written this time. But I'm thinking of doing a reformed thing with, we're sort of rationalizing the cost of gold to the amount of damage, so that there's not this thing where you can get a different weapon that does more for the same, where it's literally you pay this much gold to do this much damage, and here are examples of the kinds of weapons that will do this. And then at 0 gold, you can do 1 point of fist damage on a critical success, or no range damage. So range damage will always be 1 gold more than being able to do damage melee. I could do it where it's pick up a rock, but I kind of feel like it makes sense that range damage would be harder to do, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyhow, getting back into this segue, it's a different day for me. So yeah, the cosmic vapors come into the room, and everyone blacks out, and then slowly they start to wake up. These deformed servants and the halfling and the and everyone were in media res. We're in combat, but something weird happened where cosmic vapors interpenetrated all of the creatures and all of the players in this space. So yeah. Okay. So Halfling Ranger is now going to do melee attack. And the only way that the Ranger can be successful is to get a 1. And got a 4. And so takes 1d3 plus 1. So 2 damage. So the Halfling Ranger will take 2. Okay, now we're at the top. We're going to do bravery. And, well, that's, I can only do success on a 1 for these guys. So they both take 2 willpower damage. Yep. And now we're going to do the Halfling Ranger. I need another blue. There we go. Just so I'm using the right colors in my brain. Okay, so we're going to do Halfling Ranger is going to attempt to do range damage. And with a 5 and a 6 does not manage to do it because we needed a 4. I didn't min-max the Ranger, so we missed with the Blessed Whip. And then the Halfling is going to try to do melee damage and fails and takes 2 physical damage, so we're at 4. And now the Orc has no range, is going to attempt to do melee damage with proficiency and succeeds on a 4. And that means they do 1d6 with the great sword, and they do 2. So one of the servants is at 8. And now we're back up at the top. And we're going to do bravery. And one of us succeeds. The orc succeeds, so gains back 1 willpower. And the halfling takes 3, which takes it to 5 willpower down. Halfling is going to attempt range damage. And succeeds, doing 1d6, only 1 damage. Wow, okay. Takes that servant to 9. And now does melee, fails, and takes 3. So that's 7 physical damage so far. And then Orc is going to do melee damage, and with a critical success, does 5, and that is enough to kill 1 servant. Servant. So 1 deformed servant is down. I wonder if I should... Yeah, actually, let's do that. So 1 is down. There would have been 2. And now there's only 1. So 1 is down. I suppose actually that doesn't work. Okay, so 1 is down, and there's 1 left. And so we are back up at the top. We're going to do bravery. Halfling is successful, so gets 1 back, which takes it to 4 down. And the orc fighter takes 3, which takes it to 4. And halfling is going to do ranged attack with the Blessed Whip. Is successful on both die, and then does only 1 damage. Not such a whip. It gives the one of the disfigured deformed servants a Indiana Jones scar right underneath the lip. And then does melee damage and is a critical failure, so takes 3 physical damage. So we're back. No, wait, actually we're at 10. So Halfling Ranger is down 10 health. The Orc Fighter is going to attempt now to do melee damage. Is successful on a 4, and so does 5. And now we're back up at the top. We're going to do bravery. Neither is successful, and so we take... Oof. So we take 4. That takes both to 8 willpower down. Halfling Ranger is going to use the whip. Is successful and does 4 damage. And attempts melee is not successful and takes 3. So Halfling is down 13. The Orc is going to try to do melee damage. And it's barely successful with a 5 and a 6. We managed on a 5. And so we're going to do damage, and all we need is 2, and we're done. And we did 3. So the other deformed servant is now dead. So 2 dead deformed servants. And now we do a loot roll. Ooh, and it's a 6. Oh, yes. And I don't have any of my things up. Hold on. Okay, so now I got a 6, which means that I roll on the treasure table, which is the armor and items. And if I roll a 1, I get nothing. But 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the items, the numbers next to the item names. So let's roll. And I get a 1. So we got zilch. We got bupkis. Wow, that was disappointing. Yeah, so we've got no gold to rest up at the tavern. We need to open another door and try to get something else because we need some gold to rest up. We're going to keep going. We're going to go through this door. So let's open that door and see what we get. And we got a 4, which means it's stuck. So we're going to do a strength check. So the orc fighter is going to do a strength check with proficiency. And we beat a 5, so that means that we're going into this room. Now we're going to roll 2 dice to see how big the room is. And it is 5. And now we're going to roll 1 die for 1d3 to see how many doors there are. And there are 2 doors. So let's put a door here and a door here. Actually, let's put the door over here, so that we're going in that direction now. Okay, and now we're going to roll on what kind of room this is. 1d6. It is another low ceiling, so an LS for some reason. And this is room 6. And now let's roll on which monster we're going to get. It is cannibal rats. And how many are there? There are 6. 6 cannibal rats. A whole total of 6. So monster 1 and 6 total. And the max is 6, so we're definitely going to get them. So room 6. Cannibal rats. 26, 22. 26, 22. Except we're at 8 and 13 and 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Little rats. And they do 1 and 1 with a life force of 2. Okay, so this is what I've got. Cannibal rats in room 6, and then I've got my orc fighter, my halfling ranger, and then health 1, willpower 1, life force 2, and there are 6 of them. So I only have to do 2. Any one hit will take them out, but that's where we're at. Oh yeah, let's fill this in. Okay, so we're in this low ceiling room, and we've got 6 rats to deal with. So there are 6 rats in that room. Okay, so we're at the top. Let's do bravery. And both fail, so both take 1. So we're both at 9. And then halfling is going to do bravery. No. It did bravery. Sorry, I picked him up. I got a 1, but we're going to roll it again. Halfling ranger is going to do ranged. And double 5s, so fails to do ranged. We'll try melee, and of course fails and takes 1. So is at 14 down. The orc is going to attempt to do melee. And wow, look at that. Fails on double 6s. So is going to take 1 damage. And that's the first damage that they've taken so far. Wow, okay. And that takes us back up to bravery. Both fail, so both take 1. Both are down 10. Halfling is going to try ranged and succeeds on a 4. So does only 1 damage. Not enough to kill it. Wow, whatever. Okay. And then it's going to try melee. Fails. Takes 1. And is at 15 down. Orc is going to try melee damage and succeeds on both die and will do 3, which kills a rat. And now we're back up at the top for bravery. Orc succeeds and so is at 9. Halfling fails and so is down 11. Halfling is going to attempt ranged with the blessed whip. And succeeds and manages to kill the rat finally that it was trying to get. There's no spillover, so the extra damage doesn't go to anyone else. If we were playing with the ammo, the pistols, those weapons, there are rules that allow those to spill over, like in the pirates and sci-fi versions of this. But for the purposes of this, there are no weapons in the weapons list that have the damage rolls over to the next monster. So the halfling is going to try to do melee and fails and takes 1. That takes him to 16 down. Orc is going to try and do melee and succeeds on a 1 and does only 2 damage, but that's enough to kill another one. So we're down to 3. And now we're back up at the top for bravery. Orc succeeds and now is at 8 willpower, 8 down. The halfling is now down 12. Halfling is going to use the blessed whip to try and get another rat and succeeds on a critical success and then does only 1 damage. Doesn't kill it. Tries melee, is a critical success, but has no damage. So actually doesn't take damage because they succeeded. So they dodge. That's what that is. That's a dodge. That's really interesting. Okay. That's something I didn't think about, is that on a critical success, they manage to dodge and not take. So there is still some measure of success in melee. Okay, I have to think about that. I have to add that to my thinking about how that works. So the orc tries melee, succeeds, and does only 1, but manages to finish off that rat. So now we're down to 2. Now we're back up to bravery. And both fail, so we're down 9 and 13. Halfling is going to try ranged with the blessed whip. And critical success and a critical failure, but that does work. And only does 1 damage. God damn it. What the hell? This whip is crap. And tries melee and fails, and so takes 1. So we're at 16 down. Orc is going to try melee. Critical success and does 1 damage, but manages to finish off that rat. So now we're down to 1 rat. We're back up to bravery. And both fail. So we're down 10 and down 14. And now the halfling is going to try that whip again. And succeeds and does 1 damage. Oh, could have finished it off, but no. So melee is a 5, so takes 1 damage. Could have avoided that had they rolled better than a 1. The orc fighter is going to roll and manages to hit the last rat for a total of 6. Just absolutely. I think the takes the great sword and literally just like puts it flat side down on the rat and just squishes it, and it makes a huge big splosh. Okay, so cannibal rats are down, and now we're going to roll on treasure. And we get a 3, so we get 3 gold. Good. So we only have 3 gold. Now we can now decide to give up and leave, and I think we will, because the halfling is down more than half of its health. So I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to decamp and head out to town and try and get some healing. So we're going to heal up at the tavern, spend 2 gold of the 3 we got with 1 left over. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. So thanks for hanging out with me while I corrected some errors in the way that I was playing this. But we're going to continue on with the Tomb of the Necro Lord. By gum, we're gonna do this somehow. We didn't manage to get very far ahead in this one. We weren't able to get enough gold to do armor or anything else, but we did do 2 rooms, so that's pretty good. Yeah. So anyhow, I'll see you next time. Bye.